I've got a little bit of time to kill before I go out tonight, so I wanted to record a little video where I draw some cats. So here I've got a background character that's going to appear in the first episode of my animated series. This here is Tiny. Tiny's just a recurring background character from the first episode. I'm not sure if I'm going to have her show up in any other episode. Still deciding what I want to do with that. But for now, this is her. She's characterized as being, friendly. Kind of your typical friend character in the background. She's besties with one of the sweeter characters in the show. Angel. No, not Angel. Angel is the grandma, Princess is the grandchild. I always manage to goof that up. So there's this character I have in Plum and Thistle who is let me get up her reference. Absolute sweetie pies. This is Angel. This is Princess. Princess. This is Princess. She's a total sweetie pie. You might have seen her in one of my animations that is actually on my YouTube channel now. I don't remember what it's titled, but it was one of the first animations that featured my characters. And here I am adding features that Tiny doesn't have. I'm so used to drawing cats with 2 ears and 2 eyes that the moment I just change that, my brain just kind of freaks out a little bit. There is a little experiment I've been having while creating Plum and Thistle, which is what kind of stylization do I want to use for these characters? Do I want to go full cutesy, sort of cat animation? Do I want to lean into realistic? Things like that. And there are some amazing animators on YouTube that do all sorts of styles with their cartoon cat characters. Obviously, be able to tell that a lot of my work is inspired by warrior cats here, but these characters, I want to lean more towards stylized than realistic, which has been a little bit of a struggle lately. In my little animation teaser I posted, I did that in about a day and an afternoon. It was something I just wanted to create on the fly to sort of practice some animation, and get some ideas for the show. But something I found looking at it and looking at my old art for this show is that the older style was a lot more accurate to how I wanted the show to appear. Like if you look at my original animations of Plum and Thistle side by side with what this ends up looking like, you can definitely see not a degradation in art style, but an oversimplification. And that is 100% because I've been wanting to make my characters easily animatable by simplifying their shapes as much as possible. But the downside of that is, in some cases, I've simplified them too much and created characters that just don't look very visually interesting to me. But since this is currently being animated just by myself, I don't want to be spending too long creating a lot of different lines and complicated looking characters. Part of me wonders if that's kind of just like a coward's way out of things, like my fear of committing to something that's difficult means that I keep just sort of dropping the harder things and leaning towards the stuff that might be theoretically easier to create. And if that's what I'm doing here, then I want to create something that I'm proud of, that I like, and doing that's going to require a lot of time and effort. And that's something I've always kind of struggled with executing. It's that constant struggle between finished and looking how exactly I imagined it. If you notice in that animation I just posted, the city looks rather goofy. I really struggle with drawing buildings. It's not one of my strong suits. And a lot of people want, drawings that have backgrounds, that have locations. And I would love to be able to draw those things, but I just cannot do it. It's not something that's not, inorganic shapes are not something that comes easy to me, which is interesting because when I did my 3D modeling class in university, I really enjoyed 3D modeling inanimate objects, but severely struggled with animating and creating anything organic. And I think that's because when I draw things with my hands, I'm relying on... That's why I don't want any stabilization. When I draw things by hands, I'm kind of expecting... I follow my natural flow of my hands. I don't try to force a lot of restraint from myself. And that, unfortunately, doesn't seem to translate well into drawing inorganic objects, which are typically very rigid and formalized. The lack of ear definitely makes for an interesting silhouette for Tiny, makes her look a lot more recognizable as a character compared to the others. And pushing silhouettes is something that I've been really trying to do with my designs for these characters. My original, for example, Angel here was the first character I created a reference sheet for. And I believe Wish was the last. And as you can see between the two of them, Angel is rather a standard cat, whereas Wish is where I started to push the shapes a bit more of what I wanted to achieve for a cat. I gave them bangs, I gave them a different looking tail, a general sharper shape to them, whereas Angel... Yeah, I think her file name is also Angel. I don't know why Princess and Angel have the hardest names for me to get right. Oh well. It's all good. So, Angel and Wish. Two very different characters, but despite that, they still have a relatively similar silhouette in how they present themselves. And I'm fighting between having highly stylized characters and ones that are a lot more realistic in form. One of my inspirations for the visual design that I like the look of is The Cat Returns by Studio Ghibli. And I think that's probably on the inspo board for a lot of cat stories. And it makes a lot of sense why. It's fun, it's visually distinct, it keeps the cats realistic, but it also keeps the cats realistic looking. They're not completely OC-ified. A feature that I, as an OC artist, OC as an original character refers to two different things. It refers to the literal original character and the metaphorical and the abstract metaphorical original character, based on context clues and things like that. And all characters are original characters, but not all original characters fall under the archetype of being an OC. In order to fall under that, you have to exhibit a certain degree of excessive detailing and love, and have essentially be a wish fulfillment for a creator, and there's nothing wrong with them. Not in the slightest. Let's turn the stabilization off. That's better. But that self-indulgence can sometimes limit and this is definitely something that's more abstract and hard to pinpoint. But the self-indulgence an original character might have can sometimes even limit how well they're executed in as narrative tools. And that's something that is narrative tools. You might notice it in more indie spaces than as they are more expressions of the artist's personal taste rather than tools for their own narrative. I've got to remember this is a cat I'm drawing. It looked... Tiny just looked very weird then with the very round pupil. I gotta... Whereas more oval shaped look a lot more organic for her. Yeah. As you might notice, pen weight is not one of my strong points. It has been something I always struggle with. I'm not quite I probably should practice it more. Okay. That's a bit better. Something I liked from the original animation that I did was the use of hard shadows where things cast a shadow, rather than just using plain shading, adding these little dark spots. I really like that. Now, does she have an eyebrow? She does not. And this is why it's important to draw characters from multiple angles when you're thinking about animating them. Even if this is just a very minor change. Like, we can see exactly how her wide head does not translate well to a 3D space. Who would have guessed? But we'll make some changes. That's a bit better. Now, do I want to do... If I start a thought and never finish it, it's because I'm thinking. This is recorded without a script, it's just my thoughts while drawing. Sometimes I think about live streaming my art, but... What is her head doing? Okay. Okay. Sometimes I think about live streaming my art, but I know a lot of my thought process is just... So I didn't actually create this initial design. This was created by a real life friend of mine. I messaged a friend group and said, hey, can you guys color in some line art for me? This line art by Extra Nico on Warehouse. I'll put a link in the description. And they sent me back. I'll get it up for you. They sent me back these guys. And I said thank you, and I said about turning them into characters that would look like they belonged in the story. I kept most of them pretty similar to what the original sort of design was, but a couple, specifically these two, I changed significantly. Since ultimately my desire for these characters is for them to look like realistic cats. And as you can see, Tiny is that top one. Probably my favorite design out of all of them. The others are cute, but this one has like just a certain something makes me really happy to look at it. I think maybe this is just a really awkward... Okay, let's pull out the big guns. Let's... figure out eye placement. If you see something is not working in your art, it could be that you need to just revisit the original structure of the drawing. As here we've got Tiny looking over her shoulder. Cats have a flexibility that I wouldn't give to other characters. But I'm still going to keep this a bit more of a 3/4 view for the body. I think leaning towards a more classical animation style for these guys would look rather cute. I just don't really know what I want to do with it. Like, this blue line art is alright, I'm not mad at it. It's just not quite what I'm looking for. Oh. This layer has a couple of design concepts I have for these cats. I do plan on visiting these guys because they're all going to be background characters, but today's focus is just on Tiny. Especially since she's going to be a prominent one compared to the rest, who are just going to be in crowd shots. Okay, I'm feeling a little better about this. I'm gonna make her a bit more proportionate with this original drawing. I'm still trying to figure out what kind of line art style I want to go for these guys. Density, brush size, opacity. Oh, discovering new features in. Oh, I see. Discovering new discovering new features in Clip Studio Paint live on camera. That's funny. Velocity. What does random do? Oh, that's fun. Oh, that's fun. Man, there's so many features here that I just don't take advantage of because I don't know that they're there. That's okay. Pen pressure. That fixed my consistency problem. Possibly. I just need it to be like... let me just set this back to what it was. It was like a... yeah. Because I like this brush, but at smaller sizes, which is why I started drawing on a thicker size, I really need it to be that dark. Just not. It's okay though. Anyway. I think I've got more of a shape that I want for her. So let's give it what I want. Start off with the nose. There we go. Forehead's a bit on the small size. That's a bit better. Oh yeah, if you're watching this video and you've also watched my Minecraft videos, you might be wondering why I haven't posted any in a while. I straight up couldn't find diamonds, like, at all. I've been playing Minecraft for years and thought I had how to find diamonds down, but I couldn't. And it was actually starting to make me a bit annoyed and a bit embarrassed that I couldn't. I spent a while in that cave as well, so it kind of took me out of the headspace of playing Minecraft because of that. I'm thinking of getting back into it though once the work holidays hit, so I can have some more fun and start playing Minecraft again. But yeah, that's why I stopped recording. I have episode 9 actually recorded, but not edited, and I might just go back and redo some stuff or do a little time skip, just so I can get some diamonds and move on to the next part in my narrative. I know by all means I could just... I made her eye too tiny. It needs to be bigger. Like, I could just skip forward and, like, make a nether portal the speedrunner's way, where you just get water buckets. But that's not what the character Mist would do. She's very new to this Minecraft world. I'm playing kind of how she would play, not as the most efficient Minecraft player would play. I like that a bit better. I'm playing her as how the most of, like, how she would play the game, not necessarily how the most efficient Minecraft player would do. Which is just kind of my way of saying if I mess something up, that's just because that's Mist would mess it up. I've been playing Minecraft since forever. I remember my dad bought the game initially, and I remember being at a friend's place, and her brother was playing the game, and this was before, like, this was one of the first public releases, I think, like, brand new game. Minecarts were just added, and all that kind of fun stuff. And my dad bought it a few weeks later. I remember watching him play, and I remember when beds were added to Minecraft. Play. I, I remember when beds were added to Minecraft. I remember when the Nether was added, and that was a big day. My dad set up the Nether portal, got it started, and then turned to me and said, "Alright, time for bed." And I was like, no! Absolutely devastated that I wasn't going to see it till tomorrow. But he said, just kidding, and then actually showed us what the Nether looked like, and it was really cool. My dad still has that original save file of that original world of his stored away, and that's pretty neat. Goodness, I made her legs too long, honestly. She's not lanky. Yeah, I think I'm sure I could find a file of my original Minecraft world somewhere. I just don't know where it could be. So yeah, I've been playing Minecraft for years. I just have never actually been good at the game. I like actually giving my cat characters whiskers. I know a lot of people don't for cosmetic reasons, but I prefer giving my cat characters whiskers. I think it helps people remember that they are actually cats and not just characters. A lot of animated characters, especially animated cats, are so stylized away from their original inspiration that certain features get left behind in an attempt just to make them look cool. And while there's truly no harm in that, I think it is a fun challenge to then turn around and like actively embrace those features of those animals, rather than removing them because they might look a little bit silly or not as cool. Okay, I'm really happy with this. I'm feeling a lot better about this direction. I'm gonna start adding some dark spots. Part of me is worried that like I'll keep talking about this animated series I want to make, but either I will never finish the first episode or I'll only finish the first one and then bail on it. And it's not because I'm ashamed of not finishing a project. I'm a little bit, but it's fine. It's more so I don't want other people to be let down. But ultimately, this is something that I just want to do for fun and because it's something I really like. I just also work full time. That's why you might see a lot of gaps with things, even though I theoretically would love to just constantly be animating and working on stuff. I've got a life. I've got work, I've got friends and family obligations, all kinds of stuff. And really struggle, honestly, with consistently doing art things. It's a curse. I have all these ideas and no ability to remain focused on them. Yeah. Oh, that's one of those hard ones. Okay. Theoretically. Okay. That looks a little goofy. Let's see. Just enough to suggest where it connects to the body, but not so much that it looks out of place. Okay. That creates some dark spots, thank goodness. And to create okay. Add a little bit of shading here and here. As kind of folds in the skin almost. I don't know how those are going to look, but we'll see. There we go. I think the thing I'm looking forward to the least, like something I'm a little bit nervous about with this, is having to animate claws. I really struggle with drawing claws out on cats. I don't know why. It theoretically should be pretty easy, but it just isn't. So yeah. Okay, and just with this drawing, I'm going to make the inside of the mouth black. It doesn't need to be colored in. Okay, that looks really good. I am actually really happy with that. That original sketch was nice, but this feels more like she has actual mass. I'm very happy about that. Now I just need to do a little bit of cleanup. Now we just need to color her in. Something I was having a hard time deciding is, do I want to do outlines for the markings for my animations? And that was my original goal, but I kind of leaned away from that since I think it looks smoother as is, unfortunately. There we go. Like, do I want to do markings like this where there's no lines? Or do I want to have thin outlines where they are and then color them in? And that was my original design. You can see in all of my original character designs that they had outlines for all their markings and things. You can see an outline here, outlines around the shapes. But I think, okay, sure. I think I'm going to just get away from that habit. Okay. Alright. It is. Ugh, yawning. Time for markings. Yeah, that creates a bit of a tangent there, which I don't like. That's better. And, oh, there we go. This is about half, a little less than half the tail is black. Okay. Cool. Now I get to do the fun part. Color in here. And got little pants on. This little kitty cat's got pants. Little orange posies. Do I want to give an orange paws on the front as well? Oh, that actually looks... Ooh. That look better? Let's try white on the back. Orange on the front. Nah. Yeah, I think having all four orange paws is cute. She's a little Halloween kitty. I missed her massive... Okay. I missed a big feature on her, which is her really big black patch on her chest. That's okay, we can add that in now. Let's draw that. There we go. You can kind of tell. There we go. Cute. Alright, now we're just gonna add the pink detailings. I think the two whiskers look really cute on her. Okay, folks, we're getting to my favorite part of the drawing. Adding the little detailies to make it look alive. There is her face. There it is. Boom. Oh, isn't she sweet? Yeah, this is Tiny. She is a background character in Plum and Thistle and is friends with some of the other characters. Well, thanks for watching. I think I'm going to do another recording with another I am going to definitely record future characters I do for the background art. And probably ones I create for the main cast too. Bye!